What's up everyone, MichiganerE here today with a brand new My Thoughts for the Infinite Warfare beta. Now before we get into it, there's two things that I want to talk about first. For one, no matter how many times they call it a beta, it's not a beta by any means. It's a demo. The only reason that they're calling it a beta is so that they can market the game. Seeing as the game had already gone gold a few weeks back, which means that it's ready to be released, calling it a beta makes no sense whatsoever. Now, if they had called it a tech test as a way to stress test the server similar to what Respawn Entertainment had done with Titanfall 2, then that would have made sense, but calling this a beta, there's no logic behind that. And two, the final thing that I want to talk about is how it's pretty unfair how PlayStation 4 gets the beta for 6 days, Xbox One only gets it for 3 days, and PC doesn't get it whatsoever. That's pretty much a huge fuck you to anyone who doesn't play on PlayStation 4, but I just wanted to get that off my chest real quick. Anyways, it's time to actually get on with the video. So I'll start off with the good, which unfortunately there really isn't that much of in my opinion, but I'll do my best to talk about it. So first off, I guess I'll talk about the colors of the maps and the aesthetics. In my opinion, they're not that bad. They're not that great, but they're pretty to look at. They definitely do add to the map, I suppose. They're definitely better looking than Ghosts. Next up, I want to talk about the weapon salvage. The weapon salvage, in my opinion, seems like it has a lot of potential. Yes, it could be used for monetary gain with something such as supply drops, but when you exclude that and you just talk about the potential that it has for weapon customization and options, it's not that bad and there's a lot that you can do with it. But if you include supply drops, which is something I'll get into later on in the video, then that can lead to a lot of bad things happening to the game and a lot of people leaving the game because of that. Next up, I want to talk about health bars. So when it comes down to hit markers, they can obviously be very annoying, but when you have a health bar there, knowing just how much health they have left can really help out in a firefight, so I guess they kind of do add to the gameplay in a way. Not that much, they really don't do anything at all, but it's nice to have them even though they're not that necessary. Next up, I want to talk about the announcer in the lobbies. I think it's pretty cool how now in the lobbies you have an announcer that talks about things that happened previously in the matches or when you're getting ready to load in the match. Sure, match bonuses are now gone, but having an announcer there to talk about this and rank you up on your mission team can be something cool at times, I guess. I doubt anyone would care if this announcer for the lobbies wasn't there, but I suppose the announcers kind of do add something to the lobbies. I guess gives them more life if nobody's talking in them. Speaking of missions, there's now mission teams, similar to Pokemon Go, so you can choose a team that you want to be on, although you have to rank up as a way to unlock more teams. I believe there's only 4 of them, and depending on what team you're on, I don't really think that adds much to the gameplay at all, but being a part of a team, I suppose, is kind of cool. I guess it gives you more of an identity in a way, and you do earn XP from doing challenges depending on what team you're on. Yeah, I'm doing my best to be as positive as I can, but these are the only good things I could find from the beta. They're nothing that major at all. They're nothing that important. They're not necessary. They're cool additions, but really there's nothing interesting at all when it comes down to the good of the beta. And that's really all I can say when it comes down to the good, so we'll move on to the bad. So when it comes down to the bad of the beta, there's a lot more to talk about, so let's start off with the maps. The maps are downright horrible. They have no flow, they lack any sort of consistency, and when you factor in the sporadic gameplay elements such as wall running, as well as the awful spawns and quickscoping, this turns every single match into an unbalanced clusterfuck. Then you have the hit detection, which is, surprisingly enough, very inconsistent, especially when compared to Ghosts, because I remember back in that game, every single time you'd kill someone, they'd go down fast, but in this game, it seems like you can never predict when someone's gonna die. Sometimes they'll die fast, sometimes they'll die slow, and sometimes they'll have the opportunity to shoot you and kill you when you're the one who shot first, and that can be incredibly annoying and very inconvenient. Then you have the score streaks, which are just useless. There's nothing else I can say about them, so moving on to the next point. Then you have the supply drops, which are in the beta. Sure, you can't buy them with real money, but the fact that they're there shows that they are eventually going to be available to buy with real currency once the game launches. And this, as usual, is going to be a major problem for game balance as a whole. It's going to eventually result in weapon variants made from salvage being available to buy, and as time goes on, they'll just keep on adding in more and more weapon variants, possibly brand new weapons as a whole. This will eventually turn the game into a pay-to-win title, and turn off more players over time, eventually killing off the community as a whole. And finally, the last thing I want to talk about in the bad category for this beta is the fact that it feels like nothing more than Black Ops 3.5. Everything in this game is copy and pasted from Black Ops 3. The combat rigs, the score streaks, the pick 10 system, the gameplay style, the gameplay mechanics, there's nothing interesting or different about this game. It feels like something Treyarch would have made. What's the point of having the space setting if you're not going to do anything interesting with it? They could do cool things such as space battles, but no, instead they decide to play it safe and copy everything Treyarch did with Black Ops 3. Sure, Ghosts may have not been anything new for Call of Duty whatsoever, But at least with that game, Infinity Ward tried out some new things. They tried out the squads mode and the 7-tier perk system, and instead of taking that and building upon it with Infinite Warfare, they decided to throw away all of that potential and instead mimic Black Ops 3 in every single way they could, because they don't know how to do anything themselves without failing. And now I see them as nothing more than a Treyarch clone that lost its own style. So, what are my thoughts on Infinite Warfare's beta? Well, I found it to be pretty bad, and there are only certain times where I actually had fun playing it. But those times were in confirmed info, but for the most part, I was either annoyed or bored when playing it. And that's really as far as it goes. And so the question remains, will I be buying Infinite Warfare? Well, let's see. You have a campaign mode that looks decent, a multiplayer mode that feels like a shittier version of Black Ops 3, and zombies, which has been milked to death not just in Call of Duty, but in entertainment as a whole. So the answer is no, I will not be buying Infinite Warfare now, and probably never. And about Modern Warfare Remastered, there's no way in hell I'm spending $80 to get 2 games when I clearly only want one, so I'll wait until it gets sold separately. And if it never does, oh well, there's plenty of other games out there that I can spend my money on, both old and new. And that just about sums up this video. So anyways, that's all I had to say. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, then why not leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share on your favorite social media websites. Any support would be appreciated and would really help this channel grow. Also, for those that don't know, I have a second channel called Pointless Nonsense. There's a link to it in the description below. Plenty of other content on there, and I think you'll really enjoy it. But that's it, and I'll see you guys next time. But until then, I'm out. Peace.